The next 48 hours could very much define Ukraine's fate, and all eyes are on the White House. US President Donald Trump has said he will be delivering a major statement on Russia this coming Monday. This is a war that has dragged on for over 3 years now, and Donald Trump's words carry a lot more weight than ever. This comes as Ukraine reels from the most punishing wave of airstrikes it has faced since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia unleashed a massive drone and missile assault on multiple Ukrainian cities for a third consecutive day. Ukraine's Air Force saying it intercepted 382 aerial threats, with Russia largely targeting Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. And according to the Ukrainian officials, a Russian drone struck a maternity hospital in Kharkiv, with the patients rushing to take shelter as windows were shattered and shards of glass fell just about everywhere. In a post on social media, Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky said that at least 9 people were injured at the Kharkiv hospital, including women who had just given birth, still recovering from the surgery.
It was very scary because I was so full of adrenaline that I probably forgot that I had stitches. Now I am slowly recovering from the shock.
It's important to note here that Russia has repeatedly said it does not target civilian areas in Ukraine. Russian aerial strikes also hit Ukraine's Dnipro, Mykolaiv, Sumy, Odessa regions. In Odessa, the Russian strikes reportedly injured at least 9 people. The attack caused fires across several buildings, and emergency crews were seen battling the flames. One Russian Iskander missile also destroyed a Ukrainian armed forces deployment area in Ukraine's southern city of Mykolaiv. The Russian Defense Ministry released footage showing the camp erupting in flames after the ballistic missile strike. In fact, the Defense Ministry said Russian troops use high-precision long-range weapons and drones to hit military targets. Now, this is the third consecutive day that Ukraine was hit by large-scale airstrikes. Just on Wednesday and Thursday alone, more than 1,100 drones and missiles were fired towards Ukraine, primarily towards the Ukrainian capital. The fighting is spilling into the Russian territory as well. Ukrainian drone and artillery strikes killed at least 3 people inside Russia on Friday in Lipetsk, Tula and Belgorod regions. Russia has said it shot down 155 Ukrainian drones. Around 1/3 of it was brought down in the Kursk region near the border with Ukraine. The Russian regional governor could be seen inspecting the aftermath of the drone attacks in Kursk. And back in Washington, US President Donald Trump's administration is reportedly preparing a new military assistance package for Ukraine. It could be reportedly as high as $300 million and may include Patriot missile systems and medium-range rockets. Speaking to NBC, Donald Trump expressed disappointment with the Russian president's continued attacks on Ukraine. And most importantly, Trump said he plans to make a major statement on Russia this coming Monday. The Kremlin reacted to Trump's statements earlier today, stating that they are waiting for Trump's statement, I'm quoting here, so that we can understand what President Trump meant. We carefully monitor all the details in the comments of the US leader. Monday's statement is likely to be decisive and may just outline the next steps that America takes in this war. On the diplomatic front, the Kremlin earlier today also said that it is waiting for Ukraine to propose dates for the next round of the peace talks. Face-to-face meetings in Istanbul back in May and June led to prisoner swaps and the return of fallen soldiers, but real progress has been rather elusive. And as of now, with Ukraine reeling under Russian fire in such a way and diplomacy largely stalled, the world is waiting to hear what the American president will be saying on Monday. Because if anyone can change things or stop this war and push it to the brink, it is the US president. Also, the big question, are chemical weapons being used in the Russia-Ukraine war? Both countries are pointing fingers at each other. Ukraine and Russia, each accusing the other of deploying chemical weapons on the battlefield, both have demanded an international probe. So who really is telling the truth? It's hard to say, of course. But if these claims are true, the war has taken a far more dangerous turn than anyone anticipated, and these allegations are not new. Over the last 3 years of this war, both sides have repeatedly denied using chemical weapons, even as the accusations continue to rise. Let's just start off with Ukraine's latest claim as of now. On Tuesday, Ukraine formally asked the global chemical weapons watchdog in The Hague to investigate Russia's alleged use of banned toxic munitions against its forces. In fact, Kiev submitted a request to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, asking for an investigation to be established. And this comes after Dutch and German intelligence agencies last Friday said they had evidence of widespread use of illegal chemical weapons by Russia along the front lines. The OPCW has conducted similar probes in the past, like in 2018, when its team found that the Syrian government forces and ISIS had used banned chemical weapons in the Syrian civil war. Last May, the United States was also the first to accuse Russia of using a chemical compound more toxic than riot control agents, first used by Germany in World War I. But last year, the OPCW said initial accusations by both countries were insufficiently substantiated. And according to the Dutch military intelligence, at least 3 Ukrainian deaths have reportedly been tied to chemical weapons use, and more than 2,500 people have reported chemical weapons-related symptoms to the Ukrainian health authorities. What does Russia say? Russia also has approached the OPCW. Moscow has asked the watchdog to investigate its claim that Ukrainian troops are using toxic munitions. The Russian envoy said at an OPCW session at The Hague that Moscow continues to document, quote, not only instances of Ukrainian nationalists using toxic chemicals and military-grade poison agents, but also evidence of a widespread system for their mass production in Ukraine, quote unquote. In fact, Tarabrin said Russia has requested the OPCW to dispatch experts to verify its findings. Moscow claims the Ukrainian forces have been dropping toxic substances from drones, and the Russian envoy rejected accusations from the European countries, calling it a campaign by, quote, the pro-war faction in the EU to falsify evidence. But what exactly are chemical weapons for those unversed, and what does the international law actually say about their use? To put it simply, chemical weapons are toxic chemicals used to injure or kill. They include choking agents like chlorine, blister agents like mustard gas, deadly nerve agents like sarin. And who is using chemical weapons, if anyone at all? The answer remains unclear, but if proven true, these claims could signal a terrifying escalation in this war, an escalation that would have devastating consequences far beyond the battlefield. The humanitarian nightmare gripping Gaza has descended into a new abyss of horror, with hospitals starved of fuel, forcing doctors to cram multiple premature babies into single incubators, and a devastating cash crunch fueling a staggering 130% inflation. The very fabric of life is disintegrating. More in this detailed report.
The night is shattered by explosions. The air is thick with dust and the cries of the wounded. In the Gaza city and Jabalia, streets are reduced to rubble, homes are flattened, lives buried beneath concrete and twisted metal. Amidst the carnage, a desperate struggle unfolds inside the remaining hospitals. Doctors running on fumes and hope cram newborns into overcrowded incubators, fighting to keep them alive as the last drops of fuel run dry.
We are dealing with critical cases of newborn babies, especially premature babies. The majority of them are deprived of oxygen during birth and they need ventilators to help stabilize them. We need continuous electricity 24 hours. If it is cut off, the equipment that we are using will cease to work, and this directly impacts the lives of the children we have.
Outside, the suffering is relentless. Pregnant women suffering from hunger walk for miles in search of food and safety, haunted by the fear of losing their unborn children.
Today, I'm suffering. I need to have a blood unit transfusions, blood units. I'm coming from a faraway place and on foot too, because I need to have a blood transfusion because of a very big deficiency, malnutrition.
The shattered remnants of Gaza bear witness to relentless destruction and death. The agony is palpable, etched on every face. Beyond the immediate threat to life, a silent, insidious killer stalks the streets. Economic strangulation. The war-wrecked Strip faces an immense cash crunch, with nearly every bank inoperable and financial services paralyzed. Palestinians are forced to pay exorbitant commissions, sometimes up to 40%, to access their own money through an unregulated network of brokers.
Merchants object to it even though there is no problem with it. They used to object to the 10 shekels and stopped using it, and now they refuse the 20 shekels and the 50 shekels. As for the commission, it has reached 42%, meaning that you take half the salary and the other half is theirs.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu offers a conditional path to lasting peace, demanding Hamas disarm first. But for the civilians trapped in Gaza, with over 57,000 lives already lost while seeking aid, the immediate future is one of unimaginable hardship. A grim daily struggle against a rapidly spiraling humanitarian catastrophe.
Our next story is from Pakistan's Balochistan. It has witnessed one of its largest coordinated attacks in recent years. The banned Balochistan Liberation Front launched what it calls the operation targeting multiple government and military sites across the province. Late Tuesday night, the Balochistan Liberation Front, BLF, carried out a wave of attacks across several districts in the province. The group calls it the operation, which literally means dawn, marking what it calls a new chapter in its decades-long insurgency against the Pakistani state. In fact, at least 17 attacks were reported in Panjgur, Surab, Kech, Haran districts. The offensives targeted Pakistan military checkpoints, damaged administrative infrastructure, disrupted communication lines. The BLF spokesperson, Major Guharam Baloch, said that Baloch resistance has entered a new phase. The latest operation, he said, is designed to show that Baloch fighters can launch large-scale synchronized operations. The group claimed its attacks stretch from the Makran coast to the Kohe Suleiman Mountains, touting the expanded operational reach of the group. While the Pakistan authorities have not released the full details of the damage or the casualties, local reports are saying that there have been significant disruptions in parts of Kech and Panjgur, where communication services remain down. The Pakistan security forces have reportedly launched search operations in the said areas, and the BLF says it will release more information once the operation concludes. Remember, despite being rich in minerals, Balochistan remains one of Pakistan's poorest regions, with long-standing grievances over economic neglect as well as heavy military presence fueling periodic rebellions. We've been telling you about this. The Balochistan Liberation Front is among several groups there fighting for greater control over the province's vast natural resources and more political autonomy. The BLF has been active for over 2 decades, demanding greater political autonomy, control over Balochistan's mineral wealth. According to the South Asia terrorism portal, Baloch insurgent groups carried out nearly 940 attacks last year, leaving over 1,000 dead. And the BLF alone was responsible for nearly a third of these attacks, which only goes to show its growing operational capacity. In fact, early this year itself, Baloch groups hijacked a passenger train, killing over 60 people. They also launched Operation Herov 2.0, resulting in intense battles with security forces. These frequent large-scale attacks suggesting an emboldened insurgency capable of high-impact, coordinated strikes. And as this latest operation continues, Pakistan security forces have a major challenge. The latest wave of attacks raising big questions as well about Islamabad's ability to contain the tensions in Balochistan. Shifting focus for now, a powerful message from India's top security official on the country's strategic might reflected during Operation Sindoor is creating ripples. The Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval dismantling Pakistan's claim of inflicting damage on India, unleashing a fierce challenge. Take a look at this report.
Nine terrorist targets in the crisscross of Pakistan. We missed none. Entire operation was started at 5 minutes past 1 and was over at 28 minutes past 1. 23 minutes. It was precise to the point where we knew who we were.
Resonating with unwavering confidence in India's operational and tech prowess, showcased during Operation Sindoor. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval rubbishes Pakistani propaganda on its India offensive, stressing that evidence points at quite something else.
Foreign press and all these things, they said Pakistan did that and this. You tell me one photograph, one imagery. These days, these imageries are from the satellites all over the world. They are this thing. Which shows any Indian damage being done, even a glass pane having been torn.
Doval's defiant statement is rooted in the stunning success of Operation Sindoor itself. In the wee hours of May 7th, the counter-terrorism mission is seen as a textbook example of surgical precision. Over just 23 minutes, India's forces had targeted 9 terrorist camps deep inside Pakistan, strategically located far from border areas. Another focus, NSA Doval highlighted the success of indigenous systems, penetrable wall, while reinforcing the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative.
How much of an indigenous content was there? We are proud of it, that some of the best systems that worked, whether it was our BrahMos systems, whether it was our integrated air control and command systems.
Doval's challenge to Pakistan is clear: show the evidence or acknowledge the truth of India's overwhelming strategic success, reaffirming a strong stance against Pakistan alongside India's security and strategic advancements. Bureau Report, WION World is One.